Look, everyone on Ravnica knows 2 things about Chandra Noor. 1. She can melt a borough's garrison gate in about 4 seconds. 2. She has never once in her life done anything quietly. So when Jace Beleren told her the plan was a silent extraction, she laughed so hard a nearby fruit stand caught fire. Silent, she repeated, patting out the flames on a very upset merchant's awning. Silent. It's a Dimir archive, Jace said, rubbing his temples the way he always did around her, like she was a migraine with boots. They hear everything. They have agents who are literally made of whispers. If you so much as spark in there, we're done. The job was simple, on paper. Somewhere deep in Duskmantle, the Dimir were sitting on a stolen ledger, a list of every Saf house the Gatewatch had ever used. In the wrong hands. Disaster. In Dimir hands. Already the wrong hands. Why bring me at all? Chandra asked, as they slipped through a drainage tunnel that smelled like regret. You're the mind mage. Sneak in, wiggle your fingers, make the guards think they're chickens. Because if this goes wrong, Jace said quietly, I need someone who can turn a wall into a door. She grinned in the dark. All you do care. For about 20 minutes, it actually worked. Jace clouded the minds of the guards at the entrance. Chandra kept her hands stuffed in her pockets like a kid told not to touch anything in a glass shop. They moved through corridors lined with shelves of memories in jars. Actual memories, swirling blue and silver, labeled in handwriting too neat to trust. Then Chandra saw the cage. In a side chamber, hunched in a cell of dampening runes, sat a young Vedalken archivist, maybe 19, eyes hollow. The Dimir had been pulling memories out of her one strand at a time, and the jar next to the cage was almost full. Jace. Chandra had stopped walking. I see her. Chandra, the ledger. They're emptying her out. I know. And if we blow our cover, they move the ledger, and 100 people lose their Saf houses. We come back for her. I promise. And here's the thing about Chandra Noor that Jace always forgot. She could do the math. She just refused to accept the answer. Her hair ignited. In a Dimir archive, that's not a spark. That's a sunrise in a cave. Every whisper agent in the building turned toward her at once. New plan, she said. What followed was, according to Ravnican records, the loudest thing to ever happen in Duskmantle. Chandra turned the cell wall into a door. Exactly as advertised. She turned 3 more walls into doors on the way out, and 1 ceiling into a skylight. Jace, screaming internally and also a little bit externally, grabbed the archivist with one arm and ripped the ledger's location out of a panicking guard's mind with the other, because nothing makes a mind easier to read than pure, unfiltered panic. Turns out, terrified guards think very loudly about the things they're supposed to protect. They came out of the Undercity covered in ash, carrying a half-conscious archivist and the exact ledger they came for. Behind them, Duskmantle's east wing glowed like a forge. Silent extraction, Jace said flatly, watching the smoke rise. It was silent for 20 minutes, Chandra said. Personal best. The archivist stirred, looked up at the burning archive, then at the woman with fire for hair, who had carried her out of the dark. They took my memories, she whispered. Years of them. Chandra glanced at Jace. Jace sighed, reached into his coat, and pulled out a jar, swirling blue and silver. He'd grabbed it off the shelf next to the cage, on the way out. Of course he had. Mind mage, he said, with the smallest smile. I multitask. And that's the story of why there's a scork mark in Duskmantle shaped vaguely like a sunrise. Why the Dimir now have a standing protocol called the Nuller Contingency, and why, somewhere in the 10th district, a young archivist tells anyone who'll listen that the Gatewatch came for a book, and left with her instead. The end.